If you're anything like me, your vault is full, or pretty much full, because in Edge of Fate, not only did we get a bunch of new really cool weapons, we also got this really nice new tier 5 armor. Also, if you're anything like me, when you heard about the new armor, you were like, oh, I want it all. I want every piece of every archetype and every tertiary stat. Unfortunately, as my spreadsheet shows, if you want to do that, you're going to need 120 vault spaces for every single character. That's right, 360 vault spaces for just the archetype tertiary stat combinations. That's over half the vault. And that's not even including armor sets for different set bonuses, as well as different stat tunings for each piece. Thankfully for you, I have a solution. We need to take advantage of two important facets that come with Armor 3.0. There is a lot of overlap with the new system. So if you look at these two pieces have completely different, like these are different archetypes of armor, but they have pretty similar stats. And if I just put on grenade mod on this, and I put a class mod on this, you can see that they are literally the exact same piece of armor. So with all of these 120 combinations of different armor pieces, there's a load of overlap. The other good thing is, and this is mainly for PvE, because the stats that you care about are different in PvE and PvP. But in PvE, health and class are fairly low priority stats compared to the other four. The reason for this is above 200 class and health don't really help all that much in PvE. In my opinion, you should pretty much never go above 100 health or 100 class ever in PvE. And because that's the case, you can actually never run an armor piece that has health or class as its primary or secondary stat. Because even if you did want 100 class, for example, you could get 100 class from just the tertiary stats and the armor stat mods on the pieces. Thankfully, of the 6 archetypes of armor that you have, there are 2 that can give you all 4 of these stats. And those 2 archetypes are Paragon and Gunner. So my solution to vault space, simply put, is only keep Paragon and Gunner armor. That's it. Let me introduce you to Armor Genius. This website, which I'll link in the description, lets you visually display what stats you'll have based on the archetypes and stat mods and all of the armor that you want. So let me just put in 2 Paragon and 2 Gunner. Just show you what I'm talking about. So with just considering the primary and secondary stats of just your legendary armor, with 2 Paragon, 2 Gunner, you have 50 melee, 50 grenade, 60 super, and 60 weapons, which is the foundation that you can build almost any good stat split on for any build. If you want a lot of weapons, then you can choose an exotic with a weapon focused primary stat, and you can put a bunch of weapon mods on. You can also use your tertiary stats in Paragon to be weapons. And as you can see here, without any stat mods, without any tuning mods, without any fonts, we're already at 130 weapons. Now, let's say you want to do a melee build. Well, you can put the secondary stats of the Gunner pieces to melee and set our exotic to a melee focused archetype. And boom, you're at 120 melee already, again, without any tuning mods and without any stat mods. The way I'm doing it is I'm keeping the top half of my armor pieces Paragon and the bottom half Gunner. So my helmet, arms, and chest are Paragon, and my chest, legs, and class item are Gunner. Now, you'll notice I have 3 pieces here instead of 2, and the reason for that is because I want there to be space for an exotic. For example, if my exotic is in my class item, like so, then I would run a Gunner piece in my boots and chest, and a Paragon in arms and helmet. But if my exotic was in my helmet slot, then I would go Paragon, Paragon, Gunner, Gunner. If you collect just this armor and nothing else, you can hit almost any stat split that you want in the game, and you're keeping 15% of what you would have if you tried to collect all of the armor. This is 18 combinations, 18 different pieces. Before we were looking at 120. So this is a huge reduction, and it's a reduction without much of a loss. Just to show you that you can hit basically any stats you want with this build, this is 190 melee without any melee fonts, just melee stat mods, melee tertiary stats, a melee exotic, and the 2 Paragon, 2 Gunner. You can hit 190 melee. And remember, melee is a secondary stat of Paragon. It's not even the primary stat. With the primary stats, weapons and super, you can hit 200 weapons and 200 super without any fonts or any subclass bonuses or anything. With the secondary stats, so grenade and melee, you can't quite get to 200, but melee and grenade fonts are very easily runnable on the arms, so you have that to help you out. So something that I mentioned in the last video, which you should watch by the way if you want to know how to get all of this tier 5 armor, is I like running 2 of the Ion renewal sets and 2 of the Ion adapter sets from Kepler. And so I'm pairing my adapter pieces with my Paragon. So all of my Paragon armor pieces are adapter, and all of my gunner pieces are renewal. By pairing up the archetypes with the different set bonuses, I'm guaranteed that anytime I run 2 Paragon, 2 gunner, I'm also going to be running 2 adapter and 2 renewal. One of the obvious downsides of this method is there are still going to be stat splits that are impossible to hit with 2 Gunner, 2 Paragon, which is why I'm keeping certain niche armor pieces like, for example, a Grenadier piece with grenade tuning. I'll keep these because if I really want to hit 200 grenade, like I want to go crazy in grenade, then I can use these as substitutes for like maybe a Paragon piece, for example, to help me hit that higher grenade stat. You do the same with Brawler and Specialist or whatever you want to hit. Here's another example using Armor Genius where I've swapped out only one piece of Gunner for Brawler, and now I can hit 200 melee without fonts. So keeping those very specific pieces like Brawler with melee tuning mod or a Grenadier with grenade tuning mod can really help you get that extra stat to get to 200 in any stat you want. The other obvious downside is this is very PvE focused. I think health is a very valuable stat in PvP, so you might want to change exactly what you collect for PvP specific armor, but that might just mean swapping out the gunner pieces for bulwark pieces instead. TLDR, if you want good stats but you don't want to sacrifice your entire vault for it, do this method. I promise you can hit almost any stat split you're looking for, and you can avoid this absolute monstrosity. So I hope you find this video insightful and enjoy your newly acquired vault space.